before, basically.
Okay.
On June 16, 2021, Governor Baker signed into law an act extending certain COVID measures adopted during the state of emergency. This act included an extension until April 1st, 2022 of the remote meeting provisions of his March 12, 2020 executive order superseding certain provisions of the open meeting law. The new law allows public bodies to continue providing live, adequate alternative means of public access, i.e. Zoom, to the deliberations of the public body. The law also authorizes all members of a public body to continue participating in meetings remotely. The public can listen, view, participate in the meeting while in progress by joining Zoom meeting as posted on town website. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment, or as requested of the chair. So with that, I'm going to open this Board of Selectmen meeting for February 15th, 2022 at 6:05. We do have a full quorum of our board. We have a light agenda tonight, which we're going to try to take advantage of, hopefully. Do a public forum followed by appointments. We have two committees that have appointments before us. One is for the 350th anniversary celebration committee, and the second is the Council on Aging. We have one item under new business, which is the discussion regarding the 350th anniversary celebrations committee budget for FY23. Any old business, followed by a report by the town administrator or the assistant town administrator, and one set of minutes from February 1st, 2022. So is there anyone in the public that would like to speak to something that is not specifically on this agenda? I think I see Joan's finger waving. Or is that just a mishap?
I'm eating my dinner.
You're eating your dinner.
Light entertainment for dinner.
And it's,
He's saying, pass the pepper, Harold. Okay, that's. Okay, so there being no one in the public forum, we will jump to our next item, which is appointments. We have two people tonight, Michael Kurt Fahey and Lori Chabot, who are requested to be appointed to the 350th anniversary committee. And I see one of you here. Lori, no?
No, I don't
Sue,
think
I'm
either
sorry,
of them are here. That's okay. I don't think
Okay.
either of them are here.
Okay,
No one's in the waiting room, right? We're good on that side of things.
No one's
right?
in the waiting room, but Mr. Fahey was at your last meeting and confirmed that he wanted to be appointed. And I heard from Lori Chabot by email confirming she wanted to be appointed as well.
okay. Yeah, I recall that as well, so. Okay, so is there a motion to appoint these two to the committee?
So moved.
Second,
A second, any further discussion?
thank you.
Being none, all is in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, there we go, all three of us. We're in support of that. So the second appointment we have is for the Council on Aging, and we have Jean Haight, who's being put forward for this.
Yes, she's
Mhm.
replacing Jim McManus, who's retiring now that he's the oldest citizen in town from the council.
Yeah, so he's going right from the council to the Boston cane.
Yes, he's rather excited about the cane.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. Okay, so Jean's willing to do this, I assume, and I know she's a great candidate for it. So with that, unless anybody has any other comments, I'd entertain a motion to appoint.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, great. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Michael and Lori. New business, discussion regarding the 350th anniversary committee's budget for FY23. Kathy sent us a spreadsheet. Has everyone's received that? Ron, did you get that?
I did.
Okay. So they've broken down. So all of their costs to date and what they anticipate going forward and what they've received. And they've sort of outlined some of the events, the major events that they're looking forward to having, starting with a fundraising event of a trivia night and silent auction in April, followed by the kickoff gala and then a road race and the Patriots Day parade, fireworks, food trucks, cornhole tournament, Dunstable's Got Talent. Ooh, that should be interesting. Barn dance and fundraising expenses. So it looks like they're looking for a total of 133,000 or the $450 are the anticipated costs over the next year and a half. What they're looking for now, or what they've been, correct me if I'm wrong, or what they've already encumbered is about $2,485.
Yep.
So I guess the vast majority of that estimated cost would be put in towards the FY23 budget, and is not, obviously they're not asking for that right now, because that's just not something that we could take care of. But so pre-June 2022 funding request is what, $5,400. So that's what the committee is essentially asking for right now, is 5,000. Is there anyone here? So you're here to speak to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we had our meeting last week. Ron was kind enough to attend, and so as we were, as everybody may remember in our last board meeting, we talked about some folks have fronted some of the expenses to get things going. So Ron had asked if we could break out our request from the town that we had presented to the advisory board initially back in the beginning of December. So we updated our costs, and then we separated out what we need now versus kind of what we need in the future. So that is, it's really broken out. We need we've got a deposit due for our gala of $1,500, which is really due now. We've got some costs to get going for the road race, as well as the trivia night, and then additional funding for merchandise. So this is what we're asking for. I'm not sure what, I know we've got a lot going on in the town. So, but yeah, that's kind of what we've got broken out. And then we did also send this over to Brian as well, just so that he had that for the 23 and the 24 requests.
Okay.
So
And has this been submitted to the advisory board as well?
He said he was sending it to the advisory board and advised that
Okay.
the next meeting was March 2nd, I want to say.
Okay, so they haven't spoken to it yet.
Not this particular request, no.
So Sue, in the current fiscal year, right, which gets over the end of June, you're going to have some fundraising, and that's great. But you do have some immediate issues like that deposit for the gala. And you're going to need money in the current year, which means it's the only way you're going to get that is it's going to get transferred out of the reserve fund. And so is the $5,000 get you to where you want to go in terms of having enough money to cover the upfront cost of these events? Does
Yes,
that work for you?
it does.
Okay.
Yep.
And does that reimburse what individuals have put in?
Yes,
So it's covering your ongoing costs for the rest of 2022 and reimbursing people that have put money forward.
it does, because we do have some money from fundraising that we've already done. So that should cover our costs as well as reimbursement.
Okay,
So, hey, I know Brian's not with us, right?
not tonight, no.
I don't see him there. Hey, Jake, does the gala have a GL code,
What do you mean?
general ledger
Statute?
code so if we go to the advisory board and we ask for a $5,000 transfer from the reserve fund, it's going to come out of the reserve fund, which is whatever that digit is, right, into their account. Does this 350th have a GL code that money would get transferred into?
Not yet. We'd have to talk to the town accountant and have her set one up.
Because in order to do a transfer from the reserve fund, you'd need those account numbers, right?
Yeah, that's something we'll have to set up with the accountant as part of the process, just like we set the donation account up for them to accept donations. We'll have to work with the accountant to get that set up.
So refresh my memory a little bit. If we do a fund transfer, is that strictly an advisory board function to go from one fund to the other?
From the reserve fund, yes, the reserve fund is exclusively under their control, as I recall.
Yeah, I think it was too. So what we want to do is if Sue is in agreement that $5,000 is what they need to get through until the end of June, then I think that what we want to do is ask the advisory board to do a fund transfer. But in order to do that, and one of those forms has to get filled out, right? You need that GL code on their end, on the receiving end. You got to transfer from one bucket to the other.
So Lisa
From what?
Kelly should be working on that. And
Who?
our accountant, Lisa
Yeah.
Kelly, Yeah.
So when's the next advisory board meeting?
March 2nd, I think he just said.
Oh. So we should be able to have, and I think our board will support, I would guess it's still got to up for a vote, but if we're gonna have this event, then we've got to put some cash into the bucket to have kind of that opening draw thing, or, upfront money, so they can have some money to work with. And if they're comfortable with that, and it's as groups and boards go, this one's one of the better organized one, and it's got a lot of horsepower in it.
No, I agree. There was never any intention for people on the committee to be footing the bill for this.
Using their own
so-
money. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I hear
So
you.
we just never, it was never formalized to the point where we had any numbers attached to what they were doing. And now we're just entering that process now. So
Yeah,
I would support it. We want to put it towards a vote for the board to support
Yeah.
this, that they
Yeah.
can present that to the advisory board. I'm happy to entertain that. So.
yeah, I'll go to the AB meeting if we need representation there to support this, but I
Yeah.
think it's gotta happen. March 2nd gives us some time to put those GL code numbers in place and get the form available for signature for that night. And I think the advisory board still has control over that fund, so it's ultimately their decision, but I would motion, Madam Chair, that the select board sponsor a $5,000 transfer from their current reserve fund into the 350th anniversary fund for the purposes of covering expenses. That's my
Do
motion.
you want to update that motion to be 5,400 to be more specific to the number they're asking?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's gonna be that number.
that number. Okay.
5,400, exactly.
I guess my
Then-
only,
You want to
Can I ask-
second it and we can then jump into discussion?
okay, second.
Yeah. Okay, so discussion on this motion?
Yeah, I guess, I see that they're looking for a total of $40,000 in funding to include the 5,400 we're doing for next year. Does that sound accurate?
No,
The
Well,
40,000 would be next year's ask.
So that's a total of $45,000 for this committee and this anniversary celebration event.
Something like
$45K from the town.
And then,
It's at, well, yeah, no, so 56.
And then you're
So-
adding 24 onto, that's just a lot of money that's almost one of our police officers, patrolman's salaries, what, 68K? Before OT and everything else is loaded in.
mhm,
And we've gone back and forth on the validity and usefulness of adding police officers. It's taken overrides to get there. And here we are looking at a one-year event to celebrate 350 years. So I'm just trying to make sure we're looking at the costs here correctly. I mean, it
So-
seems like a lot, right?
so the biggest part of this, from what I read in it, right, because I've delved into these numbers a little bit too. The biggest part of this is how successful we're gonna be at fundraising. ideally, we're going to raise enough funds to make through fundraising, and they've got a pretty comprehensive list. But I would expect to see fundraising, and this is just me, fundraising make the town whole with this entire budget. I think there's enough. I read through that list, and I don't know, Sue, how many there are on there, but there's at least 60. And some of those are not even ones I was thinking of corporate donations that can go into this thing and fund it. And so I would be thinking that at the end, when we close the books on this thing, that we're going to be close to budget neutral on it, just knowing what I know about it. Now, I could be wrong, but there's a definite plan in place to do some fundraising. And I would guess to say, from what I know, there's some pretty significant cash that is that's got potential from some of the folks that live in the town that manage businesses that want to support this thing and be attached to it through this fundraising, gold, platinum kind of event sponsor thing. So I understand the issue, because we count pennies, and the town lives from paycheck to paycheck. Believe me, it does. I get it. But they do need some seed money. And as they run these events, they'll generate some fundraising, some interest, and hopefully net out to the town at the end. That's my thought on it. But if we don't, at least seed them at this point with some cash, then the effort's going to be lost. And a lot of these folks have in fact put their own money in to buy those Christmas ornaments and hoodies, or what sweatshirts and t-shirts, whatever the stuff was up to this point. So
So the
I hear
ultimate
you.
numbers may change. I mean, for right now, we're pretty confident about what the 2022 numbers are and what is needed. It's the 2023 numbers that are still kind of up in the air. It's really going to depend on what fundraising you get. So so the kickoff gala, you have an estimated cost of $40,000. What is creating that number, really?
So yeah, and so that's a great example. Make sure that I'm not on mute, sorry. So you've got the rental of the facility, including the deposit. You've got the DJ, the entertainment, the photographer. But in addition to that, we're looking to raise money with ticket sales and sponsorships. So,
Mhm.
the hope is to kind of net out that, and we're not looking to make money. We're just looking to,
Cover your expenses.
cover our expenses. Exactly.
So
Yeah,
are all of these, I mean, so your basic fundraiser events are the trivia night, the kickoff gala, and the road race. And then everything after that are what you're doing for events. They're in 2023, starting with the Patriots Day Parade. That's no longer necessarily a fundraising event. That is part of the celebration, right?
Correct. And so these are our major events. We also have, activities that will be sprinkled out throughout the year as well. And some of those will be fundraising, and some of them will just be, community events.
Happening.
We were just at Winterfest as an example.
Right. Yeah.
So at Winterfest, we ended up, I think, bringing in over $1,000 with t-shirt sales.
Oh,
So,
no kidding.
yeah,
That's
so,
great.
we're planning to continue that activity, really throughout the entire process. So again, kind of going back to what Ron was saying, we're just looking to get started and to make sure we cover the events, but in no way do we expect to cost the price of a police officer, I guess, right? I mean, we're not looking to take.
Well, yeah, and it's a
It's just
one-time cost.
it's the analogy, right? Like it's
Yeah.
the
No,
analogy that's tough to sell. I mean,
Yeah.
Totally
like Ron said, we have to literally count every penny, and we're doing it this year, we're doing it next year, and so on. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't remember, and this is just for my own education. Is the kickoff gala being held in Dunstable? I mean, just because it's the largest item on the list, other than the fireworks, which.
Yeah, the kickoff gala is going to be held at Sky Meadow.
Okay.
So right
Okay.
over the line.
Yeah, it's almost like Gibbet Hill for like a wedding. Like that's where 40 grand usually, that's what Gibbet would charge.
And-
So,
And actually, part of the golf course is in Dunstable.
yeah, it's up on the sky top, right? The backside.
No, no.
Blanchard Hill, right? It's up on the backside.
No,
there?
no, Sky Meadow is the end of Hardy Street, where Lilac Blossom is.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking
There's
of-
that like condo golf course thing and a good portion, there's a large parcel of land that is associated with that is in Dunstable.
Okay. And is that for like 150 families or couples to go to? Like, I mean, what is,
So I'm not on that particular committee, but I believe it's for 200, a capacity of 200 adults. And then we have a barn dance scheduled for the end of the celebration, October 2023,
Mhm.
which would be families, so include children.
Where's that gonna be?
Well, I think that's still a TBD. There's been discussions potentially at McLuhan Barn. So, potentially there or somewhere in the common potentially. So they're still working out the details on that.
Cool. No, I think it looks good, and I completely get where you're coming from, Kieran. It's a tough
Yeah.
call, but this is something that is important to the town and, granted, we don't want to go broke over it and, but I think it's important to celebrate this and we just got to promote the fundraisers as much as possible. So for every dollar we get in from the fundraising, that 40,000 should go down, right? So.
Right.
so in that sense, it should be a revolving fund, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love partying and celebrations as much as the next, but I just know it's a lot of money for me. I'm cheap when it comes to those things. So
Yeah.
ask my wife.
Okay. Joan, you have a question? Or are you still eating dinner?
No, I
Okay.
choked on salad when I heard $100,000 mentioned, and I had to stop eating. We
Oh,
started
well, it's a good thing
with-
Harold knows the Heimlich maneuver. So,
We started out with 25,000 from the town and 25,000 from fundraising, and now we're up to 100,000. What is
Well, they're not asking for 100,000, right? They're asking for
I know
their
there's-
estimated costs of all these things, but they're expecting income from fundraising. So their ask right now, the only thing that we're for 2022 is 5,400.
right?
And
no,
then
I
the
get that.
next, it looks on this spreadsheet, the funding request for 2023 is 40,000. So that 133,000 is what they're expecting the entire thing to cost, but a lot of it should be coming from donations and fundraising. Am I reading this correctly, Sue? Okay. So they're not asking the town for $100,000.
I understand that. I understand
Okay.
that. I think somebody told me the last celebration we had, and I don't know whether it was the 300th or the 325th. We spent $2,000. I'm not against partying, believe me. But some of this just seems a little over the top to me. Good luck fundraising. It's tough. It's tough to do. Everybody says, yeah, we're gonna send you some money, and it never seems to show up. I like the ideas of the that you have for the fundraisers, and I hope to participate where I can. But it just seems like a bit much. Okay, so
Well, it's
that
certainly more than what has been spent in the past.
yeah, quite a bit more. But anyway, good luck. Good luck. I'll help where I can, but I
I
just.
challenge you to cornhole, Joan.
And I always say, Leah, that this is, I guess this is on, open to the public here, so I shouldn't say it, but cornhole.
But I'm gonna anyway. Yeah,
Carry on.
yeah.
Exactly. Carry on.
Cornholing is something totally different than it used to be in the old days.
Okay.
I'll admit that.
It's not PC, Joan.
Leah,
Okay, I revoke my challenge, Joan.
Leah,
Yes, Harold.
I'm not against this thing at all, but my question is, what happens if the fundraising falls short? And, the committee has gone out and
Spent money. Yeah.
and there's not enough money to pay the bills. And, speaking as one member of the advisory committee, if they came in looking for $10,000 or $15,000 because they fell short of fundraising, I would be voting against it. I think that's a terrible way. Basically, they've got a blank check here, and who's controlling it besides the
Good
committee?
question.
I don't understand the blank check comment. I mean, this is, so you guys appointed us to pull together a year-long celebration for our town's 350th celebration. You asked us to put together cost estimates, so we did. This is what we think it's going to cost. We're not looking to bankrupt the town. We're going to fundraise and we're going to pay for what we can pay for. We're not going to go out there and put down deposits and make commitments and sign contracts when we don't have the money to pay for it. If our fundraising falls short, then we have to scale back some of these events and put on events that are, more appropriate to the money that we have.
That's what I'm getting at is what happens, $130,000 is a lot of money, and if you fall short on your fundraising, and I hope that you don't.
We haven't gone out and signed any contracts with anything, with the exception of getting this deposit going for our gala.
Okay,
So we haven't put anything at risk.
Yeah, that's the responsible way to do it. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and certainly not our plan to put the town at risk at all.
I guess
I'm sure
second
you'll
the
have the
motion.
opportunity to, I expect you're gonna go before the advisory board, so you'll be able to, I'm sure they're gonna grill you with questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Karen, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was gonna say, I guess we should vote, right?
Yeah, so what's on the table right now is the 5,400 for now. And, yeah. Any
Yes,
further discussion on this? 5,400.
I don't know if, I don't know if it's proper for the selectmen to be saying to transfer money out of the reserve fund that's controlled by the advisory board, though. I think it may be a better thing would be to recommend to the advisory board that they.
Yeah, that's what the motion is. Yeah, we know we don't have the ability to do that. I think we're just making a vote to show our support for it. That's all. That was your motion, Ron, right?
That was, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We know it's in your hands to do it for sure. but-
It's not a select board function to take money
Yeah.
out of that account.
So I guess I'll vote in favor of making
All
a
those in favor?
recommendation. Yeah. To the
Aye.
select-
All right.
Aye.
Okay. So that's an affirmative vote to support the request, knowing we do not have the power to do anything about it, except tell the advisory board we support it.
Good discussion.
and-
then.
Yeah, so they will, I believe that they'll be addressing that at their next meeting. And as Ron says, we need to get the general ledger number in order to have it to transfer into, because this is not something that would go into their donation account. So,
Is that, do I need to follow, do I or Kathy need to follow up with you, Jake, on that?
We'll need
Or
to reach out to the town accountant, but that's something that Brian and I can work on.
Okay, thank you.
all right,
Fine.
I think that wraps that up as far as new business. Do we have any old business that we need to address tonight?
Meeting minutes, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. We do have minutes from February 1st, 2022. Thanks, Sue. Have a good night. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from February 1st, 2022? Ron, did you have some revisions to that?
I did, but I haven't seen those meeting minutes because I've been running around, but if those, if we could wait, Madam Chair, so I can take a look at those, because I don't know if that, I just don't have them. I didn't have a chance today to print those
I
out.
couldn't find them either. Did you? For February 1st, Jake? I don't think they were with the,
Just a moment, let me check. I could have sworn I sent them to you.
okay,
I couldn't find them.
I couldn't either.
Yeah, they're attached to the email I sent on the 10th, February 10th. They were the fourth attachment.
Oh.
And they were sent before Ron had mentioned some changes, so I figured the best thing to do was to just accept his changes and approve them as amended, and then I would just add them into the final copy. But if you want to wait, we can hold them to the next meeting.
Yeah, let's hang on to the next meeting so we can get these into the record and then vote them in all at once. Because I want to just, yeah, because I didn't see them. I want to take a look at them. There's no rush in getting these done, so they can wait until our next meeting, which I don't know, at this point is probably
Yeah,
going to be
that's weird,
sooner
Jake.
rather than later, right?
The only thing I got with that for the 10th was the draft agenda. There was only one attachment that came through on my end.
Huh, that's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm with
I'll
them. I
resend
only have
it.
one attachment.
okay, all right. So we obviously, none of us were able to. So we'll just hold off on those. There they go. Someone apparently is walking up the street.
My dog has heard Leah's dog now, so now it's on.
Is it barking at you? She barking at mine now, Chili?
He's just at the top of the stairs staring. He's like, what the heck is going on?
All right. Anything else that we need to discuss tonight? I don't think so. No, Chief Zibby, did you have anything? You're just hanging out with us. Just hanging. Okay.
Say la vie.
Yeah. Jake, did you have anything you wanted to add or?
No, not really. I think you all know that Brian's out at the moment, so that was kind of the thing that happened this morning. I briefly
Yeah.
talked with the accountant this morning about some of the provisions regarding ARPA and the reporting requirements. So she's going to follow up with Brian about that and just make sure that the strategies we use maximize what we can spend and minimize the reporting requirements where we can.
Okay.
That was kind of really it.
Okay. We are conducting interviews tomorrow with 4 candidates for the TA position. Brian is at this point planning on attending, so he will be back up for those. And the only other thing that he mentioned is that the mask mandate per Charlie Baker is supposed to end February 28th, and we are waiting for confirmation from Neshoba Board of Health to see if we can jump in line with that, which I'm quite ready to do personally, so. But once we get the thumbs up from Board of Health, then we will just follow that state procedure. And I guess that's it.
Do we have a
Nothing
meeting
else?
booked for Monday?
The 22nd,
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah, for the, yeah, the other interviews. Yeah,
Yeah. Great.
okay. Well, if that's it, let's make this short and sweet.
Okay.
39 minutes, not bad. We're pretty close to a record here, so. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. All right, thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.